Okay, so I am going to be answering some questions. Um, let's see. I'm probably going to take a few from Twitter and most from the live stream chat because it's probably going to be the easiest to react to. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, you can start asking them, and I will do my best to answer them as best I can. How am I doing? I am doing well. I am doing well this night. I just got back from a little con called Too Many Games, which was really fun. And I'm about to go to Paris the end of the week, which I am nervous about. So I'm mostly just nervous right now, but I'm doing okay because I don't really have anything big to do between now and then. So let's see. Any other questions? I know there's not very many people at the stream yet. I'm going to Paris for a master class at a animation school called Gobelin, and I hope I'm saying that right. I can't speak French, so I don't know if that's correct, but it's just a 2-week animation course, and it's one of the best animation schools in the world. So I really want to experience it, and I've never been to Europe, so it was just a really good opportunity. And it's really short, so it doesn't distract too much from my projects, So if anything, it'll help me do projects better because I'll be learning from professionals. So yeah, that's exciting. I'm really excited to go. I'm nervous though. I've never been to Europe, and I'm sure a lot of the people going are going to be much more skilled than I am. So, but it'll be good to learn from other people. Maybe I waited too late. There's not many people asking questions. Oh, the Casey animation. So somebody asked, what about the Casey animation you were working on? That one, I keep having to put it off because, I kept having more and more stuff piling up, and I kind of lost inspiration for it, and I really, really want to do that one justice because it's the first time an artist that I really, really love has actually given me the blessing to do it. So not only will she see it, but she's actually said, yeah, this is okay. No, it's not commissioned. No, it's a fan thing. She basically just said yeah, you can do it. So I'm like, yay. And it's just a minute long, or no, it's about a minute and 20 seconds of her song Dime Store Cowgirl. And I'm really excited because I really like the board. The board has some shots that I'm actually kind of proud of, but when I started animation, or when I started keying, everything was just coming out absolute garbage. And it's because I'm trying to do her justice, because it's harder to do for me to not do a character, because I'm trying to do her, the singer, and so it's different because I don't want to treat her like a character, but that's usually how I'm most expressive, is using characters that I don't have to worry about, I guess, making them look good or doing it justice. So that's kind of one of the three. I'm really picky about how the keys look and how I'm depicting her and stuff. The only shot I really like is the first shot, which I got done and it's fully colored and everything, but it's really short. But I'm really excited to do that one. It's like, it's gonna happen. I just need to actually sit down and, like, have time devoted to work on it. But I'm really excited because it's gonna be a lot of challenges. There's gonna be a horse in it, which is gonna be insane because horses are one of the hardest things to animate. And I've done, like, run cycles with horses, but never, like, actual, like, kind of acting or perspective with horses, so it's gonna be really hard. Yeah, she actually did give me a shout out during a show. She knows who I am now, which is insane. Like, really exciting to me because, like, this is actually an artist that does, like, inspire me a great deal. And I love almost everything she produces, so, you know, it's really amazing. The fan in me is very excited. And I'd honestly love to work with her someday. I'm hoping if this project that I'm working on right now, like I'm developing right now, that's going to be a short film called Allison. I'm hoping that if Allison does well, I can, like, pitch that to her and be like, if I made another film like this of this caliber, like, would you be interested in voicing in it? So, you know, depending on how well Allison goes, that might be my avenue of future, like, my future career might be in making these films, if it goes well. If it's a disaster, then I might, you know, I might move off to the studio scene if I can even get in there. But either way, I'm really excited to make Allison as well. How do I get into a school like SVA or CalArts without going completely bankrupt in the process? That's a tough one because those schools are obscenely expensive, and I mean, for me, I was kind of just lucky because my grandparents kind of helped pay, and my grandfather has a lot saved up because he was very smart with his investments. So, you know, he had a decent amount to, like, help out with school for all me and all my siblings and my cousins and everything. So, you know, we kind of had, like, a little bit of financial help there, and then loans, and but I mean, SVA is the one I can speak for. I don't know much about CalArts. I figure CalArts is pretty expensive, but really, I mean, there's lots of loans, but if you don't want to be, like, in debt for the rest of your life, like, I don't know. It's such a tough call. Like, I guess my advice always for, like, art schools that are, like, really expensive is just, you know, really think about if it's something that you think you really need, like, that you need the time and you need the you know, the professors and everything and all that experience to really, like, improve because, like, it really does, like, I feel that art school gives you a perfect haven and a perfect, like, place to really get good at your craft. And I think that that's really valuable. And I think that learning from other people is something that you can't develop on your own unless you're very collaborative. But I think there's something very different about learning from a different perspective, like a professor who's worked in the industry for a long time. So I think that there's a lot of pros and cons. But ultimately, if you don't have the money and you'll be, like, really in debt, I don't know if it's the right thing to do, or maybe go to a different school that's cheaper, that just gives you that time. Because really, ultimately, I think all college is time. Like, time to incubate and, like, get better. So you can go to any school. You can go to, like, a school that's not even an art school and use that time, you know, to get really good at your artistic craft, and be just as successful as somebody who went to SVA. So that's my 2 cents. Like, I think there definitely are, like, props to art school, but if money is an issue, I don't think that you necessarily need art school, so I wouldn't like advocate. I wouldn't be like, no, go anyway and get like insanely in debt. I would say, if you think that you can afford it and not be in too much debt, like after, you know, with loans and everything, and like you can get a job and make up for it, then I'd say go for it. But if you're, you know, if it would be like a really big financial struggle, then yeah. Do you like Melanie Martinez? Yes, I do. I like her music a lot. I don't know if I would animate one. Like, as much as like it gives me a like inspiration for like characters and stuff, and it gives me some visuals, I don't know if any of her songs have like spoken to me in that way. And I'm trying to be conservative about like what stuff I want to animate now, because it takes so long, and I want to get, you know, more stuff done. But something I have been wanting to do is I've been wanting to do more of like the really short ones, you know, like really short pencil test type stuff. Just picking like, you know, maybe 10 seconds of a song or whatever, or even a movie, like acting stuff. 'Cause I think I need to do more of that, like lip syncy stuff. 'Cause, you know, I know a lot of people think that my lip syncing in my animations is kind of dodgy, which I do agree. It's very hard to lip sync to music, especially the type of music that I pick, because the words kind of slur together, and lip syncing usually is best when the words are really clear, you know. That's why like talking is much easier to make a lip sync that's believable than singing, because singing kind of blurs into each other, and for the lip sync, that's just like very confusing. Sometimes when I like animate the lip sync perfectly in connection with the words, it ends up looking wrong. So something that I'm taking the advice of a much more talented animator friend who said like kind of skip some words, and like I've been trying that, and I think it's working a little bit better, but yeah, I need to try more animation practices to try and get more stuff out. Do I know the Living Tombstone? Yes, I do. Yoav is a good friend of mine, and I really, really think he's talented. Insanely talented. I want to do more work with him in the future, definitely. Your shading technique, is super unique. Now, how did you come up with it? I don't know, but I'm really thankful that I like started doing it, because like I really like it. I think it's, you know, decently like it fits the aesthetic that I'm going for and everything. I think the only thing I don't like about it is, for some reason, sometimes I feel like it makes the art look kind of muddy. Like, I'll look back on older stuff when I was a little bit more sparing with it, and I'll be like, I kind of like how that looked. You know, like I'm always tossing up back and forth, like liking stuff in my older work over my new stuff, and then looking at my new stuff and being like, well, but this does look okay. Like sometimes, like I'm very like wishy-washy with my art. Sometimes I prefer how the old stuff looked, and sometimes I prefer how the new stuff looks, and I don't know. It's all over the place. Oops, it's starting to go pretty fast. Let's see. Do you have any advice for people who just entered art school? Mindset or self-discipline related? Darn it, chat. So self-discipline related advice to help them cope with college life. Well, that's a good one. I think, when I was in college, I really loved the independence, and I loved socializing. It really broke me out of my shell, because in high school I was the opposite, and I didn't socialize at all. I think that college is great for that. And it's kind of weird, because like, you know, I was good at socializing, and I loved to socialize, but I didn't end up keeping very many of my friends from college, and that's kind of, I don't know. I think it ended up being kind of because like we weren't the same age. Like I was younger than like my entire class. They all came from other colleges, and I was still kind of sheltered to a lot of things. You know, they were all much more, you know, experienced in the world, and they could go out and do things that I couldn't do, like go to bars and drink, you know. And so there was kind of a gap there, and I was kind of more immature. I was really into like doing different things and like my characters, and you know, it was just very different. So I think that's why I ended up not keeping many. It's not even that, you know, like, it's just that we aren't really in contact anymore. I'm not really in contact with the people in my college, except for my roommate, who is one of my best friends. So I guess she counts, but yeah, like, I guess my best advice is to socialize, though, because, like, you can make some of your best friends there. Like my roommate is one of my best friends in the world, and, you know, like, having that time at college with her was some of the best years of my life. So I think socializing will keep you sane. Definitely go out and take walks, and, you know, try to not have too much cabin fever. Definitely get sleep. That's something I didn't do, and I regret it a lot. My freshman year, I think I exhausted all my all-nighters, because I would do so many all-nighters and run on like half an hour of sleep. So now I cannot do that. And now when I stay up all night, I end up needing like a 9-hour sleep afterward, which is not healthy at all, as I've discovered. So I think it's all because of my freshman year at college. Are there still people who keep asking about the Zoophobia comic? And if yes, what do you think of them? Well, that's a good question, with a long answer, I guess, because I kind of, it's one that I keep kind of venting about a little bit, I think, on Twitter. Every so often I get kind of frustrated. Yeah, people do ask on a daily basis. And it's weird because, like, I know a lot of animator like, I'm friends with a lot of animators who have big projects that were really popular. And they constantly get asked, you know, like, when's the next episode of blank? Like, when are you making the new blank? Like, and I was always like, that must suck. Like, but I never had anything like that people were, like, really adamantly asking for. Until Zoophobia, and but only the, like, kind of more recently, so because I guess Zoophobia is more popular now than I knew, because for some reason I guess I don't see Zoophobia as, like, as big a deal as everybody else. Like, it means the world to me, but, like, I forget that, like, some people are, like, really 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 into it, and, like, you know, like, to me it's just another webcomic that hasn't really spread its wings yet. Like, I still think it's not that, you know, epic, or, you know, none of the real narratives have started, so I think I just don't see it as, like, as big a deal, so I forget that people, like, are really into it, so that when I do these breaks and I have to put a pause to it, or I run out of time with it, everybody's asking for it. But, you know, yeah, like, people ask me now on a daily basis, on every video I post, on everything I do, I get at least one comment about when I'm updating the comic, and I feel bad because, like, I don't think I have been probably as loud as I should be about the fact that it's on hiatus, and I actually plan on, like, making a more, you know, deliberate post about that, and trying to explain things. But, you know, hopefully this Q&A will answer some people on that. Is that the reason that I haven't been posting it is because I literally just I lost passion for it, and I look at my comic, and this arc that's happening currently, visually I think it's definitely closer to what I want, you know, like, I devoted much more time to the backgrounds. I devoted much more time to making the characters look good. I got more input from people to make the layouts more interesting. There's some pages that I'm like genuinely very proud of, and I think that they're like, I'm like, this is what this comic should be. You know, this is what I'm going for, and I want the whole thing to be like that from now on. But the problem is that takes much more time. It takes much more energy. And it needs passion. You know, when I started this arc, I was very passionate for it because this arc was one I wrote way back in college. And it was one that I knew a lot of fans who, like, from back then, you know, when I was in college, it was one that they were the one that they were the most excited for. You know, it's got Addison and Gustav and Tom appearing, and Tom was kind of a fan favorite from like my kind of OG fans, like I want to consider them, you know. And so I like really was excited. I was like, it's finally the story that I can give people. And as it went, I realized it was running, the timing and the pacing was running much more like a show, you know. And the problem with that is that's kind of how I think, because I'm an animator, so I kind of see like my pacing of my story is like in an animated format. And that's why some of my panels and stuff are kind of more storyboardish, and I want to try and break myself out of that and try to be much more like innovative with the layouts and everything to make it much more comic book. But I guess because I'm an animator, my mind kind of thinks of storyboards first and like animation first, and not enough about layout and composition and stuff. So I don't know, but you know, basically as it ran and as the pacing started to drag and I was working on all these pages, people started to complain, and they started to complain about the story and how they didn't like the arc. And it was a weird mix, because like some people loved the arc and some people hated it, and I was trying to stay on the people who liked it, and I was trying to remind myself like, okay, well, this is just literally all this arc's purpose is to set up a few relationships. It's kind of meant to be campy. It's kind of meant to be like a teen, like a Degrassi episode, like something really dumb and really high school, because that's what these characters are, and they're in high school. So it was kind of supposed to be like that. But I guess like the longer it took, the longer I started to really like realize like, oh, this isn't good, you know. And I started to lose passion, and I started to try harder to make the pages look nice, and I just was losing energy, and I was losing time because I was also trying to do all these other things. And basically I just completely burnt myself out, like 100% burnt myself out. And and it's just sad because like I have like 6 more pages flat colored of the continuation of this arc. So like those won't take that long to finish once I get back on them. The problem is the next page is 2 splash shots of like a city, you know, like, and I want to do the settings of Zoophobia or the settings of Safe Haven Justice. So I'll open it up and I'll look at that and I'll just be like, oh my god, and then I'll just close it, because I don't have the energy and I don't have the passion to make that good. And that's the next page, so I can't go and work on the rest without getting that one done. So really it's just I'm just completely burnt out, and I will continue it. You know, I really want to at least finish this arc as soon as I can. And I know I keep saying like, oh, next month I'll have time, but I really, like, life ends up getting in the way, and I get into funks, and I'm trying to provide for Patreon and just all this stuff. So I officially cannot promise when the pages will start. But what I want to do is I want to finish the arc, and then I'll start posting pages. So at least like there won't be another hiatus in this arc. The arc will finish, and then there'll be a hiatus between the next arc, and I'm going to do my plan to sell them and complete them in full chapters, which it's sad because, you know, they're probably going to be months in between each post, which is probably going to be a bummer for some people, but it'll be a better complete story, you know, like a better complete chapter each time. And so I'm really hoping that I can do that and it'll be okay. But I'm also trying to do animations, and I'm trying to develop a huge hefty short film, a 20-minute long thing with professional singers and professional writers, and that's kind of keeping me freaking out, you know, a little bit. So, you know, all the stuff going on is really what's keeping things from, you know, and I'm trying to be realistic about everything, so that's what keeps pushing it. I want to go back to Zoophobia, but it's hard to force myself to do it, so. Oh, hey, Dave. What is your inspiration for Zoophobia? Zoophobia, literally is just, you know, when I was a kid, I started developing I was literally just, like, drawing characters, and, like, it was kind of when I realized that I could create my own story. Like, when I had that realization when I was really young, I was like, oh my gosh, like, the possibilities are endless. So I just started jamming in every single thing I liked. Like, I was like, I like demons, and I like horses, and I like animals, and I like, horses are animals, but, you know, like, I love, like, this and that, and I like, you know, really broody villains, and I like swords, and I like, you know, just like all this crap that I liked, and I kind of put it into this, you know, put it into this concept, and it just over the years, it stayed like that was all it ever was. It started originally when I was like when I was in like middle school and high school, and I was like an edgy, you know, I was like an edgy little like Hot Topic person. It was Zoophobia, and that's actually where the name originated, was because the only characters in Zoophobia at that time were all animals. And originally it was about animals who were like, because I was very inspired, like anybody who like sees my really early DeviantArt stuff, it kind of has that Invader Zim style, like the Jonan Vasquez style look. So like I was very inspired by like his work, like Invader Zim and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So like Zoophobia was originally like just these little animals, these stubby looking little animals that just killed people and were really vicious and like just killed each other and like were mean, and it was a very like dark thing. And like in Van X was like more, she was more like you know, the brooding angry one that would just kill everybody, and then Kayla was like her like nice preppy friend who like tried to get her out of stuff, and then Spam was like the LOL random one, and it was so you know, just that. But that's because that's what I was into at the time, and it had demons and it had all this stuff, and then I started adding humans into it because like I started to realize more of my inspirations were stuff like Roger Rabbit and Cats Don't Dance, where they had this blend of human and animals, and blend of, I've always loved crossovers too. Like ever since I was young, I loved the idea of like two completely different things merging and interacting, and so Zoophobia kind of came from that, the idea of having humans or like a human world interacting with these anthropomorphic animals and having a society together, and then just piling all the other stuff in that I love, like demons and mythology, and as I grew up and I kind of developed more of like what I actually am into, like I discovered, oh, I'm absolutely head over heels in love with Broadway, I'm head over heels in love with musicals and culture and like theology and mythology and like all this stuff, and I started being able to more creatively and more, you know, I researched more, you know, I researched like hell theology, and I researched you know, different cultural myths and different urban legends and animals, you know, and I learned better storytelling tools, and I learned character, and, you know, just basically everything I learned growing up, I just applied to this thing that I already had, and it just slowly morphed into something actually legit, like an actual legit story. But I still consider Zoophobia just a huge clusterfuck because, you know, ultimately, it's got everything. Like, it's got everything I love. It's got musical aspects, it's got demons, it's got, you know, myth, it's got animals, and it's just a huge mess. And that's kind of why I have, like, everything in it. People are like, oh, you have, like, the Greek god characters, and you've got, like, demon characters, and you've got, like, all this stuff, and and it's basically, like, everything I love just crammed into one thing. And when I was when I was younger, like, I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never really seen a big epic story that had the concept around humans and animals. And now I know that that kind of thing has probably been done a bunch, but I'm really hoping that it's the way I do it is at least, like, decently fun. Like, I'm mostly just hoping that the ride and the characters are fun enough that, you know, even if some aspects of the story end up being kind of cliche or done before, I can do them in a way that people will still have fun with and stuff. And like, I want I want people to enjoy these characters as much as I enjoy them, because, like, I have so much planned for them. And, like, that's another aspect of the comic that's really hard for me, is, like, book 1 has nothing. None of the stories that I'm proud of are in book 1. Book 2 has a few that I'm kind of proud of, but it's not until book 3 that, like, the actual stuff I'm proud of starts. So it's like, and it sucks because I wish I could skip right to it, but the problem is, like, the only way it'll be emotionally impacting is if you get to know these characters with this development first. There's no way to skip it. Like, I can't just tell a story where so-and-so gets attacked by so-and-so and dies without you already seeing the struggles of that character and the personality of that character and all the stuff. And also, because the story, like, ultimately the story is about this world changing, you know, you have to see how the world exists right now, you know, which is why book 1 is kind of mundane. It's kind of slice of life. It's kind of about this character getting to know this setting and getting used to it. She's kind of the vehicle to see it. And then also having the focus shift to a few of these other characters who end up becoming very important later on. And so, like, even though these stories, like the current arc where it's just, you know, Addison getting a crush and them kind of him hitting it off with somebody else, and it's super, super mundane and whatever, you know, that comes into play later because that relationship will be, you know, challenged, and things that occur, like the relationships and the characters set up here, will later have much more meaningful and actual different storylines that wouldn't work unless I did this little you know, development stuff beforehand. Foss, I see your question, and I'm not, you know, the answer to that. Let's see. I'm getting a lot of questions about Keemstar. I do not like Keemstar. I fucking hate Keemstar. I think he is absolute scum, and I did way before all this stuff that's happening. So, yeah, my opinion on Keemstar is that he's an absolute scummy guy. He said multiple times that he hates his fans and he hates people and he's just doing it for money, and I think anybody who, like, outwardly admits that is scummy. So yeah, that's my opinion on Keemstar. But you can, like, you know, people can like whatever they want. That's literally just my opinion. I do not like him. What other questions we get? Also, sorry for, like, if I ramble on a question. because I just tend, that's how I talk. I just kind of like, I get on a subject and then I completely ramble. Like I'm very much a talker. So, which is why like Q&A stuff like this is fun. So I might try to do it more often. I get really nervous about like being on the spot with talking. So I'm always worried that I said something or whatever. That that would be bad, or would hurt me. I don't know. Like I get very, like, I think back on what I say and I'm just like, oh no, what did I say? Did I say something bad? And I'm too scared to like re-listen to things. So Viv, I'm wanting to pick an animation software to learn. I've tried TV Paint, but the lines don't look as high res and crisp as the ones in your video. Do you do your line work in a different program? No, I use TV Paint to ink. I think your issue might be size. What size do you work at? Because I work at, I usually work at the standard size of 1920 by 1080, which is like the HD size. And it's really big, so that's normally why the lines are pretty crisp. If you're working smaller than that, they probably won't be as crisp, but then again, I don't know. It could also be the brush that you're using. TV Paint has a lot of brush like options, so that could be your problem. You can also try making it even bigger, like 3000 by whatever equates to the 1920 by 1080, of making it 3000 instead, and then you can shrink it, and that usually makes things extra crisp because you're working at such a high res and then just making it smaller. But that takes a lot more space. Oh, okay. What age did I start animating? I don't know. I didn't start animation until at least maybe middle school. Like maybe middle school I started. I think I took a course for it, like a sleepaway. There was like a sleepaway camp that had art classes for some reason. And they had a cartooning class and an animation class, and I went 2 years. The first year I did the cartooning class, and I'm pretty sure that was in it was in middle school. Yeah, because it was only open to middle schoolers. So yeah, it was in middle school, and that's when like I like kind of officially started making like characters with names and stuff, and then so I think that was like 7th grade, and then 8th grade I did the animation course. So I guess technically 8th grade was when I started animation, and I just did this little course. And I loved it, and then I did, I did flip books, and I did these really crappy animations. I could probably try and find them online somewhere, because they're somewhere, but I really hadn't done much. Like, a lot of people I know, like Spaz Kid and Oni and like all them, like, they started so early compared to me, like, and they're so good. Like, that's why, like, they know so much more about making film than, like, me, because, like, they were using Flash so early. Like, I was not, like, I didn't even have Flash for the longest time, and I learned on, like, off-brand weird programs. Like, I remember there was this one weird, it was, like, called, like Flipbook or something. No, it was even weirder than that. It was, like, this weird British program that I got for free, and I did like these weird little animations, and you couldn't color in it. It was just black and white, and it was kind of pixely, but that was like my first animation program. And then paper. I remember I didn't have like I had a light box, so I'd draw on the paper. I think on DeviantArt I have this animation. There's like an animation of Zill jumping. And it's, like, really weirdly colored, but, like, I'm actually, to this day, I know, like, to this day, I think I'm proud of that animation, because I did it on paper, and then I took pictures on, like, a crappy digital camera, and then I colored it digitally, and I somehow it looks cohesive. I have no idea how it looks okay because of the way I did it. Like, it was so caveman-ish the way I made that animation. Like, I took pictures on a digital camera of each frame, and then I like took it into the computer, and I like made sure that they were perfectly like centered, and then I colored them digitally. It was the weirdest like thing. Like, I didn't even scan them. Like, it was such a ridiculous thing. But that animation turned out like weirdly okay. That was one of the first animations I ever did. And the first time I made like a flash film was the Son of 666 one, which I'm really not proud of at all. That's like the one film I can't like watch. But yeah, so that I started in middle school technically, but I didn't like actually start making films until college. Do you personally know Oni, Spaz Kid, or Ecoraptor? I know Oni and Spaz Kid. I've met them a number of times. I don't know them super well because I'm kind of like new to the whole like freelance internet animation scene. But they are super, super nice, super, super talented, and it's been really cool to hang out with them. I was on a panel. Actually, I was just on a panel at Too Many Games with Corey, and then at MagFest last year, Chris was on the panel. They're really, really cool guys. I've never met Aaron. Where can I find your stories? I don't know. I guess my comic is ZoophobiaComic.com. That's the only story I can think of. When you work on animation or ZP, do you visualize through music or through multiple drafts? Music inspires a lot of story. Like, it doesn't inspire story. It inspires the characters' personalities, and sometimes I picture, like, the music to a scene, and it helps me, like, develop the visual look of the scene or how it progresses. That's kind of why I envision my story as, like, a musical, and like, honestly, in my perfect dream world, Zoophobia would be a jukebox musical, so I could use some of these songs, like, to progress, like, actually a part of the story, but, you know, I don't know if that'll ever happen. I do want to try to make, the adaptation a jukebox musical, but I don't know if that will happen or not. Like, but I want to try. I want to have some. I'm friends with some very talented singers online who could maybe help create covers for songs for like certain characters. Like, I played with the idea of having one abbreviated song, like kind of a shortened version of a song in each episode. So basically a song per arc. So we'll see if that actually happens. What happened after you finished college? How did you manage to work on your own stuff full time? I definitely lucked out because I came back and I moved back in, with my family, and they were gracious enough not to really make me pay rent for the first year, because I was still just figuring myself out, and I started Die Young almost right away. I started it almost immediately after graduating. In fact, I actually think that I started it before even leaving SVA. Like, I think after I finished my thesis, I started it immediately. Like, because I remember posting, like, work in progress GIFs of, like, the opening shot while I was in my SVA dorm. So I know that I was still there. So I started it right away, and I was working on it kind of just as my passion project. I just graduated. I was like, yes, I'm free to do whatever I want, and I wanted to do this, so I'm going to do this. And then as soon as I did Die Young, that blew up, and my freelance career kind of started because people, not only did YouTube become a viable option because I started getting so much subscribers that I got approached by networks, and, like, I actually was like, oh, wow, I can actually do stuff on YouTube, maybe. and I was so new to YouTube that I didn't know about some of the runaround stuff, and like I was still learning, but I was so like excited, and people started approaching me about doing music videos for them, which I kind of learned my lesson about, because I actually did 2 music videos that were not worth it and wasted a lot of my time. So, kind of good and bad, but then, I found success with Patreon, and that's what's keeping me going now. And it was kind of, I guess, a combination of my fans from, Tumblr and who knew my work already, and then people who were just finding me from Die Young. But yeah, so I kind of lucked out that my family, I 100% lucked out. Not everybody would be lucky enough to have that huge chunk of time to create something amazing. And then again, even if they did, it could be ignored. The internet's very fickle about what it decides is worth going viral or going big and what isn't. So, I really just lucked out, and I was not trying to make something that would go viral. I wanted people to see it. My hope was that Kesha would see it, which, to my knowledge, she has yet not seen it, despite my best efforts, and there were many, many efforts. So I want to believe that she still just has no idea it exists, because if she does know it exists and just doesn't care, then I'd be really sad. But I wanna believe that she just doesn't know still. But yeah, I was just lucky to get that opportunity and to get that success. Oh yeah, no, she said there's an issue with the copyright for the music. I think it got taken down. Yeah, it did. But it wasn't because of the music, because the video is claimed. I don't think it constitutes fair use. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about fair use law. I know that it protects commentary and stuff, and I know that there's something called transformative for fair use, which I think mine falls under. But I also use the song pretty unedited. It's kind of snipped here and there, but it's not remixed or anything. So I don't know if my stuff constitutes. So I've never fought a claim. And my attitude is just, well, I'm animating this music that I don't own. They might as well get the promotion for it, because I like them. I'm doing this out of love, so I don't mind if they get the money, as long as they don't yell at me or hate me. Then that's pretty much the best I can hope for. But so the video, I don't make any money off that one. It's all the money goes to, I guess, Kimosabi or Kesha. Hopefully to Kesha. I don't want it going to Kimosabi over her. But the video got taken down by an anti-furry person who apparently has an ED page and all this stuff about them. They were just a really infamous anti-furry troll, and they were the ones who took it down. And that was a huge, I hated that, because I had no idea how to fight it, and this is something I do hate about YouTube system, and I do want to fight and help fight, is when somebody claims your video, they could be anybody. You just have to make up a fake name, and then you can claim, because they used the name Gabe Newell, which I think is a Valve guy. He's obviously it wasn't him, and that's what they did was illegal. And the fact that YouTube would not let me dispute the claim without giving this person my personal information, my address, and that's really, really shitty on YouTube's part, that this person who's obviously a troll can get somebody's information. That's the only way that they can get their video back, basically, is to give this person their information. And I was so disgusted by that. But I was lucky enough to be with a network that helped me out of that, and they gave me an address to use that was like their business, so it like wasn't personal, and so I was able to get it back. Yeah, no, like I know YMS has a ton of the same problems, and it sucks. Like it really does suck, because like if it was like Kesha, you know, and her people trying to get the video taken down, I'd understand, because like it's their property. But it was this person just wanting to kill the video, and I guess like I mean, call me naive, but like I didn't think my video was furry. Like I don't consider myself like part of that. Like, not that I have any issue with it at all, but like I'm not really that. I just really love anthropomorphic characters, and JJ is actually much more like that type of character. Like, she has more of the human anatomy, but I guess in my mind I was just like, oh well, that's because she's a werewolf. She's like half and half, but you know, because I didn't think about it that way, so I didn't even remotely think that I would get hate for this video. Like, I just thought people would be like, oh, it's a Danthan wolf. But then after posting that video, I discovered the genuine hate there is for the furry fandom, and it made me really sad, and it made me really sympathetic, because it really is gross. Like, people will hate something just because it's got anthropomorphic stuff, like, and I'm just like, what? Like, I don't understand that at all, because like, to me, every fictional character is equally fictional, so I don't understand the hate for anthropomorphic characters when they're just as like not real as like Aladdin or like Jasmine or like Jessica Rabbit. You know, like they're just as not real as them. You can't bang any of them, so why do you care that some people think that one thing is more attractive than the other? Like, I don't get it. So I don't get the hate for furries. I don't. But that's just me. I have a different perspective, I guess, to that. But I don't think that anybody should just get blindly hated, or like a video should get taken down just because it has something. Like, it's especially like YouTube, like you can easily ignore something. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of other videos to watch. It's obviously not your thing. I don't know why you go out of the way to do it. Like, I know that there's one anti-furry like channel that keeps trying to like mess with me, and like they really just keep making me laugh, because like I saw they made like a reaction video to Die Young. And what they did was they took a famous like reaction person, and they edited clips of them reacting to like random other videos, like PewDiePie videos and stuff. And they snipped it together to make it kind of look like this guy was reacting to Die Young. And it was the most cringy, like, weird thing I've ever seen. I was like, you didn't even make a reaction and like yell at you, like you didn't even make a real reaction. You like created one from this random guy that isn't even you. Like, it was so bad, because like you could tell he wasn't talking about what was happening in the video. Like, you could tell he was talking about something else, and yet it was supposed to be about Die Young. And I was just like watching it, and I was just like, my eyes were just narrowed, and I was just like my mouth was just open. I was just like, what is this? What are you doing? Why'd you make this? So yeah, like, I don't understand that whole thing. Like, to me, that was really like laughably strange, and I don't understand the hate. Like, I don't understand hating something so much that you make a fake reaction video to it. That's kind of another level. But it was pretty funny. Yeah, like, I think that anybody can draw anthropomorphic characters. They can make a persona. They can do any of that. Like, it's, like, I don't know. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's harmless. It's not any, to me, it's not any less weird than making, like a persona. It's all the same thing. It's not you, you know? Like, it's, like, just let people have fun. I don't get it. What's JJ's non-werewolf form look like? I designed her kind of recently, but I'm already not liking it, so I might go back and change it again. Maybe just the hair. I was happy with like how she came out, but the hair for some reason is still bugging me. I wanted to give her kind of like 80s hair, like an 80s kind of look, but I feel like maybe it's a little bit too different from her werewolf form, so I'm going to try and make something that's a little bit more cohesive soon. Will you be visiting any cons in Europe while you're in France this summer? Probably not. I'm only there for 2 weeks, and I don't know if any are happening in Paris or nearby, and I wouldn't be able to get in probably or speak. Like, if they're happening in Paris, it's probably in French, and I can't speak any French, so... And I don't think I'd be traveling around to go to a con that I didn't really know anybody at, so... yeah, I don't think that will be a thing, but maybe someday I'll be invited to some European cons. I haven't been to very many cons in general, so I'm still getting used to that scene. Do you think you will vlog in Paris? Yes, I definitely want to make like a vlog for Paris, especially for patrons, because I'm not going to be able to, do as much art. So for Patreon, basically patrons are going to get like every step of my trip before everybody else, because I actually have like a ton of vlogs still to edit. So I think people will probably get the Paris vlog after all those, which I still need to edit, which I might just edit them all at once, but yeah, patrons will get the early access to Paris. What is JJ's backstory and sexuality? Feel free not to answer the second part. Let's see. Well, Jay's backstory will probably come into play. She was kind of a sheltered. I mean, she wasn't sheltered. I think she probably partied a lot, but she was kind of a country girl. And she was very, like, she didn't feel like she really belonged in her town. She was much more, she was kind of a kindred spirit, didn't have a lot of the same views as people. Her family was not very healthy, for her. She ends up going to this party and meeting some people who kind of choose her. They kind of single her out, and they're like, you might be interested in like this, and like, so they take her to another party, and I'm telling this really bad also, because I'm kind of like, I'm kind of just spouting this out, just by the way. I'm not always good at telling stories like as I like on the spot, but yeah, so they take her to this to like a secret kind of party, and it ends up being like kind of a werewolf initiation kind of thing, and so she finds out like what they are, what the clan is, and she decides and the way they work is that they kind of party with the people, they invite them to parties, so they kind of befriend the people that they want to like maybe scout as becoming one, so she starts partying with these people, she's just befriending these people. And then they end up telling her, like, oh, hey, we're werewolves and we want you to become one. And she doesn't really hesitate at all. She wants to leave her life. She likes this culture of these wolves. They're kind of like hippies, they're very peace and love and party. So she joins them. And she ends up being such a strong presence and such a loving, such a strong character and a really fun person, that she ends up becoming kind of like an alpha and becoming the own, she owns, or she runs her own clan, eventually. So that's kind of her story a little bit. I might touch on it here and there in the story, but I don't think that her backstory really goes into depth in the comic. I thought about doing like a short film or something like really simple to like tell it. But yeah, she basically kind of just comes in as is. Die Young is actually kind of the song that I picture, or like that whole animation is actually kind of the scene I picture her introduction. So when she comes in the comic, it's going to kind of be reminiscent of Die Young. I might even throw some kind of Easter eggs in there. But yeah, so hopefully that's satisfactory. What do you think about people unsubscribing from your Patreon before payment? Well, I don't like it. But I guess the thing is, I understand if people are like disappointed in like what I'm giving for the month and just don't think it's worth their money and want to withdraw or want to change. Like, I totally understand that. But I really would like it to happen, like, at least midway through the month, or like, like, not like the last day or the last minute. To me, that's genuinely shitty, because like, you've literally seen everything and you're going to take it all away. Like, that's basically theft to me. Like, yeah, if you weren't satisfied, you can take that up with me, and I can like maybe make it worth your while next month and like maybe not charge you that or something. Like, we can figure something out. But I think that taking, like, especially like if it's like a $1 or $2, like, okay, maybe something. I mean, I don't know why that's not a lot of money, so like I don't know why you wouldn't think that everything else I posted wasn't worth $1 or $2. But I don't know, like, that doesn't like significantly drop what I'm expecting to get. But some people post 100, which is like they see everything I do, no matter what, and then they take it away. And to me, that's really shitty, because not only am I expecting that 100 and then suddenly it's gone, but you literally were just doing that to see everything. And I think these same people are the ones that are leaking stuff, because people say, like when I go on Pinterest and stuff, I see that people have like leaked like art from Patreon, and I'm like, dude. And most of my patrons I can trust. Like, most of the ones that actually give me money are amazing people, and I really love them, and I've done Google Hangouts with them, and they're great. But then I have these fakers who I don't even know who they are, and I'm trying to be more like watchful about it, figure out who they are. But and it's not just me. Everybody has this problem on Patreon. It's a flaw. And yeah, Patreon said they're gonna fix that. Okay, good, because that's definitely a flaw. And I know there are ways that other patrons or Patreon holders, creators, actively combat that. They either like wait for the whole month to go through and then just give people the stuff, or they take it off after, or like, I forget. Like, it's lots of people have been solving it in their own ways. The problem with me though is that I'm kind of a very straightforward, simple-minded type person, which is why multitasking can get really hard for me, and like handling all the stuff and doing like posting everywhere, like, it's very hard for me. Like, that's another reason that I don't always post consistently everywhere. So like my Tumblr will be really neglected, and I'll post more on Twitter. The easier something is, the better. And Twitter's very easy, and I check it a lot. So, I'm just like, oh, Twitter. And then I forget about Tumblr and everything else. And it's just because I'm very simple-minded. I probably should be better about it, but I just have so much going on and so much on my mind that it's just hard. Do I plan on reopening commissions after my Paris trip? Not right away. I think all of July is going to be a breather month, Maybe in August, I might reopen because a few people wanted more who I actually agreed to, and I was like, oh crap, I think I oversold myself. So I do want to get to theirs, so I might reopen, but I don't know because I do have people already like waiting. So we'll see. What is the inspiration for Angel Dust? Angel, I don't know. He just kind of came. Like I'd be lying if I wasn't inspired by, like, a few characters there. I really wanted a character who could just be completely off the chain, just stupid, just batshit, just all over the place. No restrictions. And for some reason, I fell on Arachnus's design, but I didn't want to make it Arachnus. I was like, I have this character design that I really like, but I don't want to use him. I don't want to make him the one. So I was like, well, what if I made a different design that was like his same species, but like colors that I like better. So then that's how I made Angel, because I really like light colors. Like, I like off-white, and I like so he kind of came from like me redoing a design I already liked into something else and making it just this really crazy character. And I wanted a character that was like a drug addict, and you had, it was all over the place. His moods would just go crazy. And then he had a little bit of, he had some inspiration from, like, this really obscure character from the Raggedy Ann and Andy movie called, like, Sir Leonard Looney. He was, like, one of the earliest, like, inspirations for kind of his mannerisms. And then I got onto, like, a really big American Dad kick, and Roger was, like, a huge influence for him. So, like, between these different character inspirations, and just wanting a, like, crazy, all over the place character, it birthed this Angel. And then I started to hone in on, like, the themes I wanted to give him, and that's how I better developed him in Arachnus as these brothers who were, like, mobsters. And I just, slowly Angel went from being a character that was 100% comic relief. He turned into something with a lot more development and a lot more personality. And I feel bad because part of me, like, does miss the, like, old one, but I really love the new one, and I think he's a much better character. He's one of my favorites. I really like, he's, like, a special one to me. His confidence kind of helps me, like, when I think about how confident of a character he is, it makes me kind of want to be more confident. So, like, thinking about him and drawing him makes me happy. He's a very comfort character, kind of like Jay is. Jay is another character that, like, she's so lively and she's so expressive, and she fits so well to this music I really love, and, like, this character that, like, I think is really fun, that she's very comforting to draw. Like, when I'm in a good mood or I want to do something really expressive and energetic, I can use her. And then, when I want something kind of equally, like, expressive, like both of them I can kind of go between when I want to do something expressive and, like, silly, or expressive and, like, joyous. So, they're good, like, kind of characters to kind of, when I need to, like, relax. Like, they're very, like, fun characters to draw. So that's why a lot of my, like, extra art is, like, of them. So, yeah. Speaking of Angel, Cooper did a really great job on his theme song. Yeah, they did. They did an amazing job on that. Amazing job. I love that theme. I really want to use the, we sped it up as, like, a joke to make a Nightcore version, but it actually sounds, like, really good. So we really want to use it in something at some point. How do you think Angel is as a dad then, since he's a dad, right? I don't know if that's still canon or not, because the story took such a drastic change, and that whole Angel's plot kind of isn't a part of it anymore, unfortunately. So, like, I might recycle that story because I was very proud of it into something else. But for now, that is no longer a part of it. But I will say that Angel definitely has father in his future, depending, and he is a very, very good parent. That's one thing I do know about him, is that he would be a very good parent. He's, like, as crazy and off the wall and stuff as he is, he's very caring to children. He's very nurturing. He likes the idea of, like, having a family. So yeah, that's one aspect of him that is kind of unexpected. It's kind of his weakness is children. Let's see. Okay, if you want to. Let's see. I'm looking. I haven't gotten any questions from. Oh, somebody tweeted at Cash. Oh. Well, thank you. Thank you, Twitter. That is kind. Okay, so Twitter, like, isn't loading for me all of a sudden. So I'm sorry that I didn't get more questions from Twitter. Next time I'll try to do, so this was kind of a last minute Q&A, so I'll try to be much more organized next time. I'll set it up earlier and I'll, like, get questions ahead of time so I can have, like, a backlog and everything, but why didn't you draw the whole bodies in the group shots? What do you mean? Do you mean, like, in the newest picture? I know a lot of people like to comment about me leaving legs out of stuff. Like, it's like the new, like, joke for people to make about me. Which I don't mind because it's true. I do leave the legs out and sometimes it's noticeable. But in the case of the Die Young one, okay, I want to address this one real fast. Like, I'll end decently soon because I was going to try to end at 3, but like, so the Die Young one that everybody, like, thinks that they're so funny by referencing, like, that she doesn't have legs in one shot, like, yeah, it's really, like, blaring and obvious, and, like, if I had really tried, I definitely could have fixed it. But I tried. Like, see, the thing is, like, I tried putting, like, a still frame of her legs behind there, but it looked so much worse with her body moving and her legs just not moving at all. It looked so much worse. I hated it. I couldn't look at that shot at all. So, it was a choice of either animating her legs or leaving it out. And at that point, again, like, this, I didn't expect this to be big. I was trying to get it done at that point, you know, like, I was like, okay, I've been spending too much time on this. I need to get it done. So I left it out, and everybody noticed because it went huge, and I was like, ugh. Because, like, it's, I mean, like, in the shot, like, I don't know, like, it's obviously she has no legs, but, like, I felt like, you know, the light from the thing, like, it still kind of looked nice. Like, I don't know. I people can still think that was lazy or whatever. Like, I really don't care because I know my reasons for not doing it. And it was really just because I was trying to get this thing done. I didn't think it was big. It was just a labor of love. That part of the shot did not matter to me because it wasn't the focus and it wasn't, you know, what was needing movement. So I don't know. So that's that. And then in, like, still pictures when I leave stuff in, it's really just because, like, when I try to position it behind stuff, it looks janky, and it looks more aesthetically, like, pleasing to just kind of keep the, you know, kind of connect things like a puzzle piece instead of just having everything just random legs sticking out. It looks better as a space to me. So I like to like either hide things or just kind of omit them or whatever. Like for me, it's just what aesthetically looks right. You know, if it looks really weird, I'll put in legs or I'll put in the whole body. But like, for like that pride picture, it really was just because like, to me, that's what looked best in the sketch. So, yeah. What do you think about the LGBT community? I fucking love the LGBT community. I think that they are great people. I mean, obviously, I can't say, oh, they're great people, when I'm sure lots of people in any movement are, you know, they're all human. Some of them are probably bad. Some of them are probably good, whatever. But just as a community, like, they're just people. And I think that they should have, like, you know, like, well, not even just like equal rights, because that's like the thing, but like they have a right to be proud of who they are. I don't think it's harming anybody. I don't think it, you know, like I don't know. Like I think I'm gearing the question towards pride and not just the community as a whole. As a whole, I think the community is like insanely like important, and like it's literally just people who identify you know, with sexualities that fall under that banner. I'm completely like going all over the place right now, but yeah, no, I love the LGBT community. I know tons of people in it. I identify. I think it's important, but yeah, like I guess the only reason I was talking kind of like I was gearing myself towards pride was just because like I just did that speed draw, and I know a lot of people were like freaking out in the comments about it. So, you know, just in general, I don't think that pride really like affects anybody. Like, it's a celebration of being who you are when you're in the LGBT community, and like people who support people being who they are. So, you know, if you don't, I guess good for you, but just you don't need to like be a dick about it. Like, I don't know. I'm an advocate for people not being dicks. Not being dick. Don't be a dick. Also, I'm sorry for how jumbled that response was. I get like, you know, nervous when I feel like I'm like talking like out my ass about something or not using the right like kind of wording. Do I plan on doing the Disney apprenticeship? Well, I would like to, but I've applied and they have not accepted me, so if they ever accept me, that would be really, really cool, but no. Do I still talk to Alexermi? I don't talk to her, no, which makes me sad, because, like, she was somebody I did talk to a lot in college, but we aren't, like, you know, not, like, I don't want to say we're friends, though, because we haven't talked in years, but, you know, like, no bad blood. I still love her. I think she's great. Think she's talented. What is the headcanon voice for Raven, Nightingale, Mint, and Coco? I don't have headcanon voices for them. I mean, the closest for Raven was Katy Perry, but honestly, like, I'm not married to that. She's one that, like, it would be very easy to cast because I wouldn't be picky at all. I'd just be like, and you do a kind of sleazy sounding, like, you know, party girl voice, then yeah, you'd fit. But I guess, like, music-wise, Katy Perry's music kind of inspires her. Hey, Goose. It is the angel. It is the angel face. Hey, Andrew. There's people I know here in this chat. Oh, that's your question is not much. Q&A. So we got any other questions? Any other questions? Sorry for the silence. Let's see. What do you think of people drawing their art in your style or a little similar to you? That's probably a good question, but let me see if I can think of a way to answer it in a way that's not, like doesn't get misconstrued. I do not mind at all if people draw in my style. What I do kind of mind is when people like stick to it too. Like, it's a very tough subject. When I was, when I was growing up, I drew in somebody else's style. Like I drew in the Jonan Vasquez style when I was in middle school. But the thing is, and the reason that I think it's like this may be an important thing to talk about is it wasn't just Jonan Vasquez style. It was Jonan Vasquez, and weirdly enough, my other style was Jim Davis, which is the guy who made Garfield. So it was like this weird hybrid. Like, I really need to find like some of my old art, like even just for my own sake. I need to find this old art. That's just it was just the weirdest combination of these like weird pudgy little animals with like the Garfield legs and the Garfield feet and bodies, but then like Jonan Vasquez style expressions and eyes and stuff, and like it was the weirdest thing. So like my style was already kind of a hybrid of two other styles that were not mine, but like because they were two vastly different styles, they merging them made a kind of different thing. And then as I grew, I wanted to, as bad as I did not want to have the Jonan Vasquez style. I wanted to get out of that as fast as I could, so I like started to learn, I started to study from Warner Brothers and Disney, so my style got much more of a like Warner Brothers and Disney influence. Billy and Mandy became huge for me, and he's got a really like distinct style. And then Ed and Eddie, I learned a lot of expressions from that. So basically what I'm saying is you can never, like, it's never good to have like one style that you like draw in or you are inspired by, because then you literally, that's where you create this kind of off-brand version of that style. The best way is to find more artists. Like if I'm an inspiration, if you love my style and want to like draw in it or learn from it, that's great. But I'm not the best like I'm not the only artist ever. Like I'm myself, but there are there's so many other artists with completely different styles from mine who are just as good, better, and it's really good to be looking at them too and learning from them too, because then you can like put aspects of my style in, and then you can put aspects of their style in, and you can learn how they do this, and you learn how they shade this. But because you're doing more than just one, it becomes something else, and that's how you develop style, because nobody like, and I knew people who like believed that you could just have a style, and that's absolute bullshit. You cannot just be born like with a style. Everybody is born as like a baby and develops. Like nobody is born with an art style. It doesn't happen. You develop one, and the reason you develop it is you grab and you learn from different people and shows and just like books, like everything. So but what if baby style? Just baby style is like those like scratchy doodles, or like your hand in the paint on the wall. Like that's baby style. Everybody has copyright. Yeah, every baby has copyright to like handprints in paint on the wall. But no, but like, you know, so that's how you develop a style. So most of the people I see who try to you know, who have you know, and I don't want to generalize and I don't want to sound mean at all, because like I really am not bothered by people who draw in my style or have characters that are like noticeably derived from like some of mine. But I guess my only thing is that like you need to make sure your art and your characters have more than one inspiration. They have to come from you and your voice, and that doesn't work if your voice is just somebody else's, you know, like, oh, I want a character like Jay, so I'm gonna make a Jay, but that's not Jay, you know, and it's fun because like Jay isn't really that original a concept. She's kind of you know, she's a colorful wolf and like an outfit and like big poofy hair, and like you can make that, but see the thing is you can make that in a way that isn't like her, you know, you can make that in a way that's very different. And sometimes I see people using the same, you know, they're either using the same style and using the same concept, and like in a different, you know, in a different style and in a different voice and everything. That same character could be completely different. But I think that people just need to be careful about like zeroing in on like one style and one inspiration. If you have lots, then you never have to worry about being compared. I mean, well, that's a lie. People will compare no matter what. I get compared to things that I never liked. I get compared to John Kay a lot, and I hate John Kay's work. I've never liked it. I did not grow up on it. The most I can say that I admire about John Kay is that he never uses the same expression twice, and I do admire that. I admire that mantra. But like, I never watched Ren and Stimpy. I never, I don't like how he draws girls. I hate how he draws girls. I think it's the ugliest. Like, not even because it's sexualized. Like, that's not even at all what bothers me, because I've seen sexualized, like, female characters. It's fine. I don't care. The way he draws them, to me, like, looks legitimately ugly. I do not. I think they are ugly women. I'm like, this is, no. So, yeah. So, like, you know, people are like, oh, your stuff looks just like John Kay. Like, I'm like, no, it doesn't. But anyway, so I'm just saying, like, even if your work looks nothing like something, there will still be people who say, oh, your stuff looks like this. And you can never let that, like, get you down, you know? But if you are, I guess the only thing I can say, though, is then, but if you know that your inspirations are only coming from, like, one source, like one artist, then and you're getting these messages like, oh, your stuff is like this, and it's that same source, then maybe you want to just, you know, just find other artists that you like and incorporate some of that, and that will make it, and it's doing yourself a service, you know, because you don't want to be compared to somebody else forever, and you don't want your stuff to just be, you know, an off-brand version of something. You never want that. So, you know, it's my genuine advice to anyone. It's totally 100% fine, especially for me. You can use my style, you can learn from my style. I think that's wonderful, but make sure, even when you're learning, that you have other styles too that you're like learning from, because then you will develop a really unique style eventually. So, you know, because it doesn't happen overnight. You know, your style is going to look like somebody else's at some point, you know. So don't mind that. Just get through that hurdle, and you'll find your voice. So that's my advice for creating a style. Do you think it's annoying when people constantly ask about how their commission is doing? I actually, weirdly enough, I don't get that super much. I think people, for the most part, get that I just kind of do the, you know, I just kind of go off. Though also, I do commissions in a big batch, and I make them the sole focus, so I get them done pretty fast, actually. I get them done, like, within a week, usually, because I devote, like, a certain number of days, like, non-stop work. So, I get people's stuff pretty fast. So I think that's why I avoid that. I don't want to answer that one question because I really don't want to like bad talk anybody, and I don't dislike anybody. Let's just say that there's just certain people I don't really want to work with, animation wise. Let's just say that. Do I have ostrich characters? Oh, I need ostrich characters because I love ostriches. It'd actually be really, really fun to design an ostrich character. I don't as of now, but... Also, yeah, I would say it's an insult to get the comment, like, your blank looks like blank. Yeah, that is something that, okay, definitely to all the impressionable minds who might be listening to this, don't do that. Do not, no matter how, like, tempting it is, don't, like, even if it's a young artist, like, never say, you know, like, blank, like, this reminds me of blank, like, or, like, were you inspired by blank? Like, I don't know, like, it's so rude, like, and for some reason, like, it gets, I mean, not, like, I mean, it's not the end of the world, ever, you know, like, it's never the end of the world to get a comment that's annoying, but, like, for me, like, it can get me, like, it can grind my gears a little bit when I get, for some reason, a lot of my characters get compared to Steven Universe characters, and it grinds my gears. I don't like it, because, like, I don't want to say anything bad about the show, but I don't watch it, and I don't really like it, and, like, I don't like, getting compared to something that I have no connection with, like, whatsoever, and when it's usually the only, similarity is the color, and like, that's really silly, like, regardless of what show or whatever, like, for example, one of my werewolves got compared to, the character Peridot, literally just because she was green, and it's not even the same shade of green, so I'm just like, why is this being compared? Like, these two characters have nothing in common. Like, Peridot's, like, a fine design. Like, I'm nothing against it. But, like, you know, like, it has nothing in common with this green wolf. Like, Steven Universe owns Korean. Yeah, no, it's just, like... Well, that's how it feels. Like, I know a lot of people were feeling it with Undertale. Because a lot of people have characters that are skeletons. And every single character that was a skeleton would be compared to, like, Sans or Sans. It's common Sans. To Sans or Papyrus. And it's like, come on, man. Like, come on. Don't do that. So guys, don't compare a character just because they share, like, one thing. Like, really... Like, don't do it. It's annoying to every single... I do not know a single creator in existence that appreciates that. So just don't do it. Yeah, just don't do that. It's rude. Especially, like, you know, and especially when it's, like, you know, and it goes for, you know, styles, too. Because, like, sometimes... I get compared to, you know, my friends' styles, or my friends will get compared to my style, and that is very disheartening for people who are friends with each other, because, like, we, we might, like, learn from each other, but that's really it, and, like, we all have our own unique voices, so I will say this to people, like, really just, you know, just don't compare artists, like, styles just because they're, like, friends or working together, because it's rude, and it does hurt, you know, it hurts feelings, and it gets people down, and it gets people, like, you know, insecure about their work, and it's just not, it's just, you know, it's not a good thing to do. It's not a compliment, you know, or it doesn't come off as a compliment, even if you're meaning it to be. Because, like, you probably are. You're probably meaning it to be a compliment, but it just doesn't come off that way most of the time. Okay, so any last minute questions? Because I'm probably gonna end it soon. Were you good at math? No, I am horrid at math. Math is like the opposite. Like, if I could think of one thing that like I'm absolutely the worst at, it's math. Like, even, because like history I'm interested in, I just am really bad at remembering dates and times and names. Like, I'm very bad at retaining information. But math is one that I cannot do. I can't even fathom it. Because at least history is interesting to me. Math isn't interesting to me. And even science, like, is more interesting to me than, like, math. Like, I can't do math. Any advice for artists trying to get their stuff out after having a Twitter and Tumblr? Thanks. My advice, definitely post. Post as much as you can, as many places as you can. Getting your stuff out there, like, even though it's scary, because there's a lot of risks. There are a lot of risks putting yourself out there. But if you want to have an audience and, you know, be successful, you have to get yourself out there, because that's how you're discovered. So my just best suggestion is just to, you know, do as much as you can. Have you considered talking to the people on webcomics wiki? No. Mostly because I know for a fact that most of the people on that wiki are either the same person with multiple accounts who have like personal beef with me, or just people who, like, people I know have known and, like, have given me the word that, like, they are not so great people, and talking to them would be like talking to a brick wall. I'm sure there's some people on that forum, because, like, I don't actually go to it. A lot of my information is kind of secondhand. But I'm sure a lot of them are very, like, legit people with legitimate criticism, and that's fine. Like, I don't mind criticism, and I've actually gotten wind of some of the criticism that has been valid, and I've actually taken it to heart, and I've, like, tried, you know, like, focus on more on writing, keep my word bubbles, like, the placement of the word bubbles, make them, like, make them more, you know, more, they flow better, you know, make them flow better so that you're not, like, confused as to what's saying. Like, there have been legitimate criticisms that I have been like, oh, you know, I could fix that. That's probably legit. But then some of them, like, and again, like, a lot of my information is secondhand, but the one that made me laugh the most was like, oh, she has too many pink characters. And it's like, really? Like, really? That's a criticism that you have? Is that I have too many pink characters? It's like, well, that is not opinion at all. You know, like, so I don't think that I'd want to talk to them, because, again, like, I know that most of them would not want to talk, or I have talked to, and are people that I want nothing to do with, because I know who they are, and they're, like, terrible. But, you know, again, and this isn't just me being like, oh, the trolls are bad. Like, no, like, I'm talking about literally, like, 2 people who are, like, really, really weird from my past, who just, like, really want to start shit. And I just don't want to deal with that. So, no, I don't want to talk to the bad webcomics people. But they have a right to exist. I just kind of avoid it, you know? I just kind of avoid it. And I got frustrated with some of the attitudes in the fandom. But I don't really consider that forum, like, part of the fandom. Like, I guess it's a faction, but to me, that forum is just kind of people who don't like something that's popular and just want to pick it apart. And I understand that feeling. It's a very natural feeling. I'm like that about shows. But see, the difference to me, and this is just this is personal, you know, if you're somebody who likes to go publicly and, like, meet people and talk about kind of a shared thing that you don't like, I understand it. It's human. But to me, that's something that you do, like, privately to, like, somebody, like your friend or something, like, oh, I hate this show sucks and this is why, and all that. So, you know, like, to me, it's a private thing to do that, because, like, no matter what, it makes you look obscenely unprofessional to, like, go out there and like just be in a big community just shit talking something. But again, that's their prerogative. It's not, you know, it's not something I do, but you know, that's you know. But yeah, like all in all, like I just don't, you know, I don't think that talking to them would make a difference. I don't really think that they think that I listen or care. So telling them that I listen and care, like, probably wouldn't change their opinion of anything. They're still gonna not like me. They're still gonna find lots and lots of issues with my stuff. So it's just, you know, it's just easier to ignore. I know some stuff is popping up on Tumblr now, which is kind of a pain, but again, like, if people really have that much issue with my work that they want to devote blogs to it and like all this stuff, like, I mean, power to them. It's gotten to the point, I guess, that it's annoying enough. I guess the only reason I get disheartened is just because, like, I don't think that my comic is like that big a fandom. Like, I don't think that I have a fandom that like shoves itself in your face constantly and like is beating you over the head like some of the other fandoms. And again, like, I don't think that means that those things deserve, or those fandoms deserve hate either, but I'm just saying, like, at least, like, I can understand being like, oh, I'm tired of people saying this is, like, perfect, and, like, wanting to vent about it. Like, I don't think that happens with my work. Like, I mean, maybe there are people who are like, you know, it's perfect or whatever, but I don't really think that that's the, like, vast majority. I think most people are just like, yeah, I like it. You know, they're not like, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I guess, like, I just don't think it's something that, like, the whole internet has to deal with. It's just, like, this faction of people. And it's very easy to ignore. So it's like, well, why don't you just ignore it? If you don't like the comic, that's fine. Don't read it. Like, you know. And if you do like the comic, or if you like the comic but have, like, tons of issues with it, it's like, well, like, I don't get that. Like, I don't get reading something that you really, like, don't like. Like, I don't, it's all crazy to me. I don't get it. I just, you know, sorry for rambling. So Foss, okay. So Foss, your question is what? That Arachnus is really, really gay? Is he really flamboyantly gay? Well, let's see. Can he be? That is true. You're right. He wears neon fish like. I still have the headcanon that he listens to, like, K-pop or you know, like, that whole, like, that really, like, bouncy pop type music. So it's possible. It's insanely, like, if it is canon, it's canon that will never be seen by anyone. That was the best question. Did you do 3D modeling? No, but I want to learn. I want to learn 3D. I've actually decided that I want to try to get do courses and learn CGI, because I really want to be able to be a 3D animator. I didn't originally want to. I was like, no, I'll never, like, be one of those people making those CG movies. Like, I'll just be a 2D artist forever. But the more I see and the more people I know in the industry, like a friend of mine worked on Angry Birds, and, like, I saw his reel and all the stuff that he did, and I was just like, oh, it's so good. It's so fun. Like, oh, I want to do that. You know, so I really want to be able to, you know. I don't want to be
limited to just 2D, you know. But I do want, like, for my personal work, I will never not do 2D. Everything I do will be 2D. But as a career, like in a studio, which I want to do at some point, probably not for the rest of my life, but at least like one film is like my dream. I would really, really love to work on at least one feature that I like enjoyed as an animator. So I'm debating maybe if I am stable enough for a little while, maybe like going back to SVA and taking like a semester course, like 1 semester course or something, you know, like something. I don't know if that would be doable, but it would be really amazing to learn CG and work up a reel, and then, you know, have all that happen. I don't know if this has been asked, but how does one overcome locker room shyness in terms of one's own work? Well, it really is just a matter of, you know, the more confident in your work you are, the more that will show. But that is, you know, it's easier said than done. For me, you know, when I was a kid, for some reason, I had a lot of confidence. Like, and it was weird because I was a very lonely person. You know, I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I had a few really good friends, but in school, we were never in the same classes, and we never were able to see each other. So I was very alone. But for some reason, I just had all this confidence in my work and all in my characters, and I just make these characters. And I was so into these characters that it like strengthened my confidence for them. So when I started to post them online, I was already like, yeah, this is Zill, and he's this, and this is Spam, and he's this, and people have told me many times that my enthusiasm for my own characters is the only reason that they gave a shit, you know? And I think that there's a lot of truth to that, because the more you can tell that somebody loves a character and like, see, you know, it's special to them and there's passion there, that's when you can really tell that, you know, it's you know, it might have something of worth. If somebody just kind of is like, yeah, this is this character, I mean, like, it's still cool, but like, I guess there's less incentive for you to care if it doesn't even seem like they care, if that makes sense, you know? And most people, like, everybody cares about their characters, but I guess if you really make it show that you're proud of them and like you enjoy them, I think that resonates with people. So I guess my advice is just trying to really like love your work and be proud of it, so that when you post it, that will show. Because I think that really does resonate with people. Have you noticed any change of heart from anyone through your Pride speed paint? Oh yeah, I had plenty of people say, oh, this changes how I feel about you. Oh, unsubscribe. And like, my attitude is literally like, okay, bye. Like, I don't want you. Like, you'd obviously, like, if this scares you away, like, God forbid you stick around long enough to see Hazbin Hotel. You'll hate it. You'll hate it, man. Like, you know, like, I can't, you know, I don't like seeing that change of heart. It's very disheartening to see how much, like, people wanted to politicize and, like, argue and, like, yell and spout bullshit in just just an image, you know? Well, oh dear, is Hazbin Hotel going to be super gay? Well, okay, Angel and Vaggie are both gay, so yeah, there's gonna be gay in it. Angel's debatably the main character. Vaggie is debatably the second main character. And a lot of the characters, like, I mean, it involves hell, so there's going to be a lot of things, like, a lot of characters from all over the spectrum of, like, what they do and stuff. So, like, it's going to be all over the place. It's going to deal with, like, a lot of, like, life things and differing opinions and stuff. So... So... Yeah. You can, yeah, that quote. So yeah, there's gonna be gay in it, yes. That's perfect. Yeah, no, there's definitely, like, Zoophobia too. I mean, there's already that in Zoophobia. But, like, I guess my thing is it's not gonna be like a gay story. It's just that that's in it, but that's not what the story's about, you know? Like, I don't know. I don't understand when people also, like, have issue when there's any kind of, like, you know, quote unquote progressive thing in something. They're just like, oh, you're pushing your social justice agenda. And I'm just like, no, it's because this exists, and I want to tell a story from different perspectives. Like, that's literally it, you know? Like, pretending something doesn't exist just because there are people pushing something for very, like, insincere reasons does not mean that, like, creating something that has, like, characters of different sexualities or genders or ethnicities or cultures or whatever, like, it doesn't mean adding that diversity doesn't mean that, like, you know, you're purposely trying to, like, make something like something is automatically better for having that. That's nothing is, like, automatically better for having that. It's just, it's more realistic because that's how the world is. You know, the world has all these different things in it. So why does it make any difference if a character is, like, gay instead of straight, or, like, you know, like, I don't, that's my thing. And also, a character who is straight will have a different experience and a different, you know, process and or whatever than a character that's gay. You know, it's a different perspective. So to me, that's just how I see it. And I get really annoyed by people who are just like a lot of people on the Pride picture were just like, oh, you know, Viv is just, you know, falling into this social justice craze, and, or, you know, like, she's just doing this because she has to, and it's like, no, there's nobody putting a gun to my head and forcing me to do anything, you know. I'm doing it because I want to, and that's how I feel the world is, and I identify with the movement, and I know and love people who are sexualities that are not straight. So it's like, you know, like, if you hate on that, buddy, then, like, just, you know, you don't need to like my work, you don't need to watch it. There's plenty of stuff out there for you, you know. So I don't know. Was the Pride pic you did recently hints at each of the characters' sexualities? Yes. Some of them, yes. Some of them I added, like, directly the colors of the flags that, like, represent their sexuality. But I was really trying to do it in a way that I felt like fit the characters. So, you know, if some of the characters wanted something more subtle, that's kind of how it was. Some of them didn't have any at all, you know, but they were of a certain sexuality. Some were allies that were supporting, you know, like, that picture. I kind of purposely wanted that picture to just be, you know, characters sporting whatever they felt fit the movement and fit their personality, without being, like, blatant about, like, what was what and who was what and everything. You know, like, there's hints, but, like, you know, it's up for speculation. And the reason for that is just because, well, one, that's more realistic. I feel like people would probably just be wearing whatever they wanted, whatever they felt was festive enough for the movement and had the colors that they wanted. But also just because, like, the whole point of, you know, of something like that is to me personally, is just to show that we're all human. And, or, you know, or in that picture, they're not all human, but, you know, like, in general, what you are doesn't make you different, or it shouldn't, you know, you shouldn't be seen as lesser or whatever for whatever you are. So I didn't want to, like, and, like, I got one comment on the video that I responded to, and it was basically like, can you tell me, like, what each one is, so that, because, like, it would really make me, like, more interested in their character and stuff like that. Which, like, I totally understand and I appreciate the gesture, like, I do. But I guess to me, I don't think that they're, you know, I don't think that knowing their sexuality makes them a better, like I don't know, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't think that any character should just be like their sexuality. I think that every character deserves to be, for people to fall in love with it as a personality, rather than like, oh, this character's gay, so I like it the best automatically. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, and like, I don't, again, like, if that's something that you really like, if you are a certain sexuality and you want to, and you identify more with the character that is that sexuality, I totally understand. Like, like, wanting something that you can relate to and be like, yes. But, like, for example, I know a lot of people of any sexuality would probably be, like, love classic characters, like, like characters from movies and shows and whatever that might have like a sexuality that is not them, that is not theirs, or a gender or a ethnicity that is not theirs, and still be able to love that character, So to me, just not being able to directly identify with the character shouldn't mean that that character is any less a one that you can fall in love with. So that's why I am going to try to be less labeling of my characters, because that is something that I did in the past and I really do regret, is giving my characters very strict labels, because then I might think about it more and develop them more and find like, oh, hey, maybe they aren't that. And maybe I was very hasty and now they're stuck with that label that doesn't really fit them. So I'd rather a character's personality really show, if they end up liking somebody of a certain gender, then you're like, oh, okay, we're there. Or if they're the type of character that will say it, then yeah, then they'll say it. But I guess, like, I'm just trying to treat my characters as characters. So I don't want, to just spell it out. I'd rather it be in the story, or have it be irrelevant because it's not part of them. It's not part of their story, So like so that's my little spiel about characters and labels and all that. Have there been people who have disliked your works but have had a change of opinion and see the good in it? I think so. I think I've had people who have, like, disliked my work and then been like, well, it's not that bad, or I'll, like, do something better and they'll be like, oh, well, I didn't like this, but I like this. And I honestly, like, I mean, again, I don't want to, like, toot my own horn or assume anything, but I do think that Zoophobia, well, and it's not even that I'm like, oh, Zoophobia is the best story in the world. No, it's not. But I do know for a fact, and just as a storyteller, that there are stories in this comic that are infinitely, like eons better than what has happened so far. Like eons, like just poof. So those same people who don't like it right now might come back years later when I've gotten to those stories and be like, oh, well, the beginning was shit, but this is good. So that's what I'm hoping for. Honestly, my main thing is I don't want the comic to peak. I don't want it to peak now because it hasn't even started. And that's part of why I'm so, like, just wanting to, like, just do it chapter by chapter, because I feel like it has less chance of, like, peaking if it takes so long between each one, because then, like, but then again, then it could have the opposite effect if people just stop caring. But I feel like if the story gets better each time, that people will at least stick around, like oh, the new chapter of Zoophobia is out. Well, okay, I'll read that. And then if it's really good, they'll be like, oh man, like, can't wait for the next one. And then, like, it'll take a really long time, they'll forget about it, but then it'll be like, oh, the new one's out. Oh yeah? And then, same thing will happen. And, like, honestly, I'm fine with that. If that's what happens, then I'm fine with that. Oh, that's another good question, because a lot of people seem to think I'm very prude on this subject. Vivz, I know this is a bit inappropriate, but what do you think about people making porn of your characters? I have no issue with that at all. Like, I think people were trying to spin it, that I don't appreciate that. And the truth is, like, somebody I'm actually, like, working with the adaptation, actually is, like, the person I've seen do the most Zoophobia porn, and I think it's hilarious. So, yeah, no, I'm not bothered by porn. I've seen a lot of J porn. I don't necessarily always like it, you know, but, like, who, you know, that's... I mean, it's weird seeing, like, porn done to your characters, especially when it's, like, very degrading. Like, it's just weird. You know, it's weird to see this character that I know not to be this way, in a way. But that's with anything. Any character acting out of character makes me kind of squirm. But, you know, that's the prerogative of the artist. But no, like, the actual, like, concept of porn of my characters, no. I'm so desensitized. I don't care. People can do whatever they want. You know, I don't mind. The only thing I am bothered by is, like, if people do, like, obscenely, like, cruel and, like, mean, like, disgusting art of my characters that's porn, and then send it to me, like, on my birthday, which has happened. And, yeah, I don't like that, but I don't think anybody alive would. So, you know, it's that kind of thing where, you know, it's context, I guess. Like, and it's funny because, like, that happened, and I, like, was like, hey, guys, like, that's kind of fucked up. Don't do that. And then people were like, Viv doesn't like porn of her characters. She can't, we gotta draw more. And I was like, okay, do it. I don't care. Like, I'm not bothered by that. So, yeah, so anybody who is thinking about drawing porn of my characters but is scared that I'll forever hate them, no, you can do it. I don't mind. I might not, like, love it, and, like, you know, I might not, like, look at it and be like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I might if it's good, like, I don't know, but, like, you know, for the most part, if it's out of character and weird, I'm most likely just gonna ignore it. But again, like, that's your prerogative to make it, so go for it. Do whatever your heart decides. You know, it's funny to me because I've seen a lot of, like, J porn, but, like, Angel, my character Angel, has actually canonly been a porn star, and I have yet to see a single porn art of Angel. Not saying that I'd, like, want to, because I think that would kind of be terrifying. Like, it'd be kind of be terrifying, but at least it would be in character. Like, at least it would be in character. So I'd be like, okay. But, yeah, no, I'm probably going to open the floodgates on that. But then again, like, I don't know who would want to do porn of Angel, because he's a very odd-looking character, but... now everybody's, like, quoting me like, Viv wants porn of Angel. No, I don't. I didn't say that. You guys are lying. You guys are misreading me. Angel porn, but it looks like a real spider. Oh, wait, Foss. Okay, wait. Yeah. No, okay, there has been, I think there has been. I stand corrected. There has been porn of Angel, John. No, I'm talking about, though, like, a full frontal thing. Like a full-on thing. Like, full-on porn. I have yet to see that. I'm not gonna pay for that. I'm not gonna pay for that. Yeah, I don't know. Does friend, like, stuff count? I don't know. Okay, let me revise it to, like, a genuine, like a random person just doing it because they're like, oh yeah, like, yeah. Like, I've yet to get that. Because I've gotten that of Jay many, many a time. And it's always really funny. Like, there's this, like, very legitimate, like, they wanted to see that. So they drew it, and they made it happen. Is Jay straight? No, Jay is I mean, again, like, I just talked about how I don't want to give my characters labels, but I think it's pretty fair to say that Jay is pan. But just because, like, I really just, she's a very open person. But I'm not positive yet if her sexuality even comes into play in the story or not. It might. There's a character that, like, that I kind of see a connection with, but I don't think it'll go past a hint in the story, which I kind of like better. Oh no, no, I'm scared, no. I actually want to see any angel. It's gonna be terrifying. No, see, that's the thing though, is like, I don't want to see it, but it's like in character, so it's like, well, if anybody, this is a very awkward subject, I'm sorry, you guys. That's funny. It's very funny. I guess I should probably add like a warning in the title of it, because I'm going to put this on YouTube. I should probably put a like little disclaimer that it's a not safe for work, or not even not safe for work. It's a like 18 plus. Like mature. There's cursing and stuff. There's cursing and stuff in this Q&A. There be swears. Oh man. Well, I mean, like, yeah, someone says Vivzie does 18 plus content. Well, no. I mean, there's definitely not going to be anything I do that's, like, deliberately, like, I will never, ever, like, I will never do art that is deliberate porn. Like, at least nothing that is, like, in my works, in my comic, in my story, in my show. But I will say that Has Been Hotel and Zoophobia are both definitely mature stories. Like, they have cursing, they will have sexual innuendo, they will have, like, you know, they are not for kids. I think Zoophobia is the one that seems very kid-friendly, but it's not, or it won't be eventually. And then Has Been Hotel is gonna be, like, more of an adult sort of thing. And I'm having fun talking. Okay, soon. I will very, very soon. I'll end after one more question after I finish this. I don't even know what tangent I was on, but yeah, I lost that tangent. But yeah, I completely lost that train of thought. So do we have one last question before I go to bed? Okay, lightning round. My favorite food is probably, I would say salmon. What sort of bread do you identify with? I guess Italian bread, because that's what I get at Subway all the time. I get Italian bread. How do I feel about fan characters? I like fan characters. I mean, I do get asked a lot. If people are like, oh, can you put my character in Zoophobia? And I'm like, no. For not only do I have enough characters already, and I can't really connect to a character that I didn't create. Plus, like, I love designing, and it kind of cheats my whole. It cheats the design to just be handed a character, you know? Like, I don't get to design it or have a hand in designing it. So if I took a character, I would definitely, like, alter things, but Also, just for legal reasons, a lot of people are like, oh no, like here's this character, here's this story, like, can you put him in the story, like even as a background character? And I'm like, no, I can't legally take a character because, like, God forbid, like the person who created that could later come back and try to like sue me. And if something was in print, you know, it would take a lot more effort to backtrack on that, you know. That's actually why I had to go back and redo pages that had like the characters I'd purchased in the past. I redid them for those exact reasons. So, you know, and that kind of taught me that lesson of like not doing that anymore. So I'm not gonna do it again. Is Cameron gonna melt after getting left in the sun for too long? Nah, she'd just get really, really sunburned. That's not a question. Are all demons canonly born through death? Yes. Yeah, they're, well, it depends on which canon. In Has-Been Hotel, yes. Do you listen to classical music? Not really. I used to listen to a lot of soundtrack, which doesn't really count, but it's instrumental, so I guess it's close. I like little bits of every genre, so there's a little bit of classical music I really like, but it's not really like a genre I like put on. Can I write a story based on your safe haven world? You can, but do you mean like a fanfic or like setting something? Like, you can, but I guess if it's like a serious story, that you like want to publish or something like that, then that'd be a little bit trickier. But if it's just, you know, like a fanfic or something for fun, then oh yeah, totally. That'd actually be really cool because it's an entire setting, so it would be cool to see, you know, stories come from that because there's a lot of possibility. Like I played around with that. I played around with the idea that after Zoophobia is done, telling more, making an anthology of like stories, just, you know, like a chapter each for like different characters in the world that people liked. Like, you know, I'll like determine what the fan favorites were and then go back and like tell their little side stories. But again, that's like thinking way ahead of an already way ahead story. So that's like on the shelf of the shelf of the shelf of things. What's my favorite? My favorite color is yellow. Will I do this again soon? Yes, I'd like to. This was fun. I actually went on longer than I expected. I wanted to end it at 3, so that I could be a complete nerd and watch the Wander Over Yonder finale on the app because it comes out at 3. So it's out and I can watch it, but I was having more fun talking to you guys. So thank you so much for coming. Like, this was more fun than I expected, and hopefully when I post this, nothing I said in it was too terrible that people will hate me. Because if it went well and people like hearing me talk about things and hearing, because this is very much the real me. I'm totally just rambling like I do in person. This is how I talk. So it's really, it's nice because I think this is the easiest way to do Q&As. It's not, it's not like not me like in no video or anything, like, which is kind of nice. It's just voice, and I think I haven't been listening to the stream, so I don't know if like the audio quality was nice, but this mic so far has been really nice, so I hope the audio quality was nice, and you guys liked this. If you guys liked this, I will try to do more. Maybe I'll pick a night like every week to do these because they're relatively easy, they're relatively fun. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. It meant a lot. I got really good questions. I hope that I gave like satisfactory answers. So have a good night, you guys. Bye.